The James Bond franchise has been under attack for years. People said the character was demeaning towards women and should be changed, that they needed to make the next iteration of the character black or female to promote diversity and inclusivity, and now the books are being rewritten to remove offensive references. I have a bunch of different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So this is an independent.uk article, James Bond books rewritten to remove offensive references. And over the last few weeks, we have heard a lot about books being rewritten to be with the times and be modern and politically correct. This only comes a few days after a row of editing from the Roald Dahl books. It says racial references have been removed from the James Bond novels following a sensitivity review. Terms such as the N-word, which featured in his writing from the 1950s and 1960s, have been edited out of new editions of the 007 books, which are set for reissue in April. Some depictions of black people have also been reworked or completely removed, but references to other ethnicities, including the use of a term for East Asian people and Bond's mocking views of Goldfinger's Korean henchmen, remain. So it is not fair at all. They have just decided outright, following a sensitivity review, to completely change anything regarding black individuals. Again, terms and depictions of these characters. Revised lines include Bond's assessment in Live and Let Die that African would-be criminals are pretty law-abiding chaps, I should have thought, except when they've drunk too much, which has been changed to pretty law-abiding chaps, I should have thought. However, references to the sweet tang of rape, blithering women, and doing a man's work, and homosexuality being described as a stubborn disability have been kept in, reports the Daily Telegraph. So honestly, this makes no sense. It's like the people that were going through this have decided to just remove some references that they found offensive, but not others. I personally think that this is ridiculous. They should not be going through books from the 50s or 60s, any books at all, no matter when they were published, really, and changing them because of people now who are offended by specific content. If you do not like this content, that is perfectly fine. You are allowed to dislike it, but you are also not being forced to consume it. You can outright ignore it and not, talk about it, not purchase anything surrounding this if it is so offensive to you. They shouldn't be removing anything, period. To me, it looks like they're removing any derogatory references to people of color because they're considering making the next movie Bond a black person, which makes this all pretty pathetic. Not that anything should be changed, but it clearly shows a specific narrative to what they're changing. It says a disclaimer accompanying the new editions is expected to read, "This book was written at a time when terms and attitudes which might have been considered offensive by modern readers were commonplace." And I personally do not support disclaimers either. If you are an adult purchasing this, you probably know what you are getting yourself into. But why even remove content if you are going to put this anyway? But there's still content that is, described as offensive. That is the problem, is censorship is an extremely slippery slope. They removed some references, but now that people are mentioning, oh, well, there's other, references like rape and, things that are demeaning towards women, as they'd say, then there's going to be people demanding that they change that. Are they going to change this book 5, 6, 7 times until everything is sanitized? No, because nothing is ever going to be good enough for the people who want censorship. That is why I do not support it. It says a number of updates have been made in this edition, and while keeping as close as possible to the original text and the period in which it is set, if you actually cared about keeping it as close as possible to the source material, you would not be changing it at all whatsoever. But unfortunately, this is not the first time that James Bond has been under attack. The books are now under attack, but I have talked many times about the films. Everything under the sun with these movies has been attacked. This was from 2020. James Bond producer addresses the Tom Hardy rumors, says Bond doesn't need to be a white man. And we have heard this many times, that they are thinking about inclusivity going forward, changing this franchise from the inside out. And we have heard that they're considering, putting a person of color into the James Bond role, or even making it a woman, which of course, I do not agree with. There are plenty of strong female characters, in this content that are just as important as James Bond. But we have also heard the franchise producers say the future films will further explore the super spy's emotional side, because Bond is evolving just as men are evolving. So they want him to be, sensitive. They want him to, basically be soft. They want to change this character because they think that he is too demeaning towards women and he is just way too offensive for current day. It is very sad to see so many characters be taken and changed by people like this, by franchise producers who think that they can modernize a character. Whenever you hear a character or a franchise is being taken, to the now, they're being updated and of course being changed for modern times, it's going to be a nightmare. I have not seen a update for, modernity ever work. They have all been disasters, and unfortunately James Bond has been the target for a few years at this point. I am honestly very worried about the future of novels. Of course, Roald Dahl's books were recently edited, and now we have the James Bond novels being rewritten to remove offensive references. What are they going to change now? What in the 1984 are they going to alter next? What beloved franchises and characters are they going to take and twist for the sake of modernity? Only time will tell, but it is very, very worrying to see this happen more and more over the past couple of months and couple of years. Nothing is safe at this point, and it definitely is not looking good for the future. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.